Welcome, climate viewers. This is Jim Lee, the Rick Grimes of Sky Crimes, the Sky Sheriff, here to break off some knowledge about this UK sun dimming experiment. Been gone for a minute, busy making new things, working on them chemtrailfacts.com. Down with OPP, other people's podcasts, all day, air day. But I've been taking my time to talk about this UK sun dimming experiment. I could have made a video when everybody was blowing up about it, but being first is not always the best thing. Being right matters more. So today we're going to break down what exactly is the UK talking about with their sun dimming experiments and why all of the hysteria from the chemtrail community over it. What kind of hysteria am I talking about? How about something like this? Over here on X, we have our good friend, wrong button, Ben Davidson from Suspicious Observer saying this. Shout out to the YouTube algo. This is not me saying it. This is somebody else saying. I'm simply reporting what they're saying. I do not advocate what they're saying, but this is the level of stupidity that we have reached in the geoengineering world. Okay, this will get me banned. Don't let them do this. Use any means necessary. They're going to, you know what, billions. Stop the planes and the pilots at all cost. Yes, I mean that. Anything goes, anything. It's for our species and our planet. God forgives. Green light, go. Now, clearly you can see right here, new experiments to dim sunlight to fight global warming will be given a green light by the British government within weeks. This was April 23rd. Yeah, I sat on this for a reason. And for those who think that I'm going, yes, you are correct, Ben Davidson went full retard. Let's be real, guys. I gave him every opportunity. I sent him a DM, for those who don't believe, just full disclosure. Like, I understand he's going through a lot right now. I'm not going to get into his personal business. If you follow him on his channel, you know about it. But just proof in the pudding. I sent him a voice message. I said, if you need someone to talk to, give me a call. I'll be praying for you, brother. And then I sent him the thing, and he's like, not sure if you meant to send me my own post. And I'm like, I did. Did you listen to the voice note I sent you? No response whatsoever. So, hey, dude. I know you, and you know me, and you did not respond. You left this up. It has 275,000 views. And if you guys think that I'm just making a stink about nothing, well, good old Ben Davidson, on top of having a lot of followers on here, he literally has 815,000 subscribers on YouTube. So this guy who claims to be a scientist who understands all this stuff about how the pole's gonna shift just went full chemtard. Okay? So when you go full retard and we have all these extremists who believe these things about chemtrails, who are associating with geoengineering and are operating on very little information, that is the necessity of making this video. So let's get into what exactly are they going to do and what's the breaking news? Well, guess what? Public opinion on this, pretty much against it. If you did not know, there was a petition, and I shot this out to everybody I could, all over my socials, and make all forms of geoengineering affecting the environment illegal. Petition to the UK government and Parliament. And to be specific, they literally say, they're talking about greenhouse gas removal specifically, but it says, we believe that this and all other forms of geoengineering should be made illegal in the UK. Now, according to the UK government, they have to respond at a certain threshold, which they did. And you can read the full response here where they, give all their normal platitudes. but they hit the mark of 100,000 signatures, which means we get to watch live from the UK Parliament. Heads up, June 23rd, 2025 on the UK Parliament YouTube channel. It will be live streamed. I think we'll probably do a restream of the live stream when that happens, if that's possible. If not, we'll cover it after the fact. But I want you guys to be able to check that out. So that will be coming up soon. All the deets for this will be available on my Substack, climateviewer.news. Or you can go to connect.climateviewer.com. Everything I'm about to show you in this video will be written up on an article on that in the future, so you'll be able to, keep up with that. So finally, we get the real world details on this. What is actually going on, and what are people what are they actually going to do? When this happened, I immediately reached out to Andrew Lockley and I showed him the tweet from Ben Davidson. And I said, I don't think you guys really realize how much fire you're messing with, because there are a lot of people who believe in chemtrails, who believe that what they're seeing overhead with the planes is what you guys are talking about funding, just making it bigger and all of that sort of stuff. And that they are threatening to kill people. I've been dealing with this for 15 years of deleting comments of people saying they want to shoot down planes, they want to do all kinds of harmful things. That's why I end every video with attack ideas, not people. Be very specific on that. So what are they actually planning on doing? Not going to waste your time with this. We're just going to get straight into it. So the UK has this thing called ARIA. ARIA is like the UK's version of DARPA. It is literally the same kind of idea. And ARIA is going to be funding 21 different experiments in total, one of which will be a stratospheric aerosol injection experiment, 3 of which will be marine cloud brightening experiments, and 1 will be glacial geoengineering, taking seawater, spraying it on top of like a glacier or Arctic ice to try to refreeze ice to see if they can make it more reflective or more thick. That being said, to Ben Davidson, who went full chemtard, this has nothing to do with airplanes. Every geoengineering stratospheric aerosol injection test up to today has always been the exact same thing. It's been balloons, dog. So back in 2010 in the UK, this is 13 years old, this was called the SPICE project, Stratospheric Particle for Injection for Climate Engineering Experiment. They wanted to spray fine water droplets from a balloon tethered to a ship and only a kilometer high. So this would technically be somewhere between simulating stratospheric aerosol injection, but more close to marine cloud brightening. I probably was not going to show you this, guys, but you know what? I might actually show you this. It is not readily available. Where did I put it? I just had it up here. Where's my Satan folder? I had a Satan folder. Good Lord. Maybe I'm not going to show you. We're just going to move along. So what are they actually talking about doing? All of it's right here on the ARIA page. I've already archived it, so it's on archive.org, not going away. I'm not going to read all this to you. I'm just going to point out some of the interesting parts. So they got, if you get down here past the frequently asked questions, funded projects, our 21 funded research teams, we're talking around $56 million. How much money? In total, about US $91 million. If you want to know who's paying for geoengineering, this is a question that often comes up. What you can see is philanthropists outspend most nations on solar radiation management. 5 of the 10 top funders of SRM are philanthropic, outspending almost all nations, with only the UK, US, Australia, and the EU making it into the top 10. This one right here, AWZ Ventures, is the only one that's like private commercial. That means for profit, and that is Stardust Laboratories. Stardust Labs I've covered. That's the Israeli company startup that's going to make money off of geoengineering. But the UK government, big dollars right there. Simons Foundation, US government, Quadrature, which I've covered in a previous video. Australian government, Open Philanthropy, European Union. Bill Gates is all the way down at number 9. He's only spent $9.7 million. I know a lot of people like to throw Bill Gates' name around in every single video they do. And, you know, especially all of the fear porn factories, they throw Bill Gates into every single geoengineering video title or something. But literally the dude has something called Pfizer, and he spent like less than $10 million. And I don't know if you know how rich Bill Gates is. That's like a drop in the bucket. Just saying. And, you know, I think the guy's a scumbag myself, but let's be realistic here. There are paper trails for this. And this ain't the only source I have. I have about 35 sources on who's paying for geoengineering. That's accurate. So anyway, the point being, the UK is spending lots of money on geoengineering. And what are they funding? What projects are they funding? These first ones are more in the lines of what they call public relations, geoengineering governance, and that sort of thing. I find some of these pretty laughable. How to speak about climate cooling. And this is literally talking about, you know, how are we going to, you know, convince people? This team will explore how people want to speak about climate cooling and how they form change in their views over time. They are literally saying this is about mind control. This is about perception management. This is about public relations. How do we convince people geoengineering is not pure freaking evil? Okay. Going on, lots of, I'm not going to get into a lot of these because, you know, at the end of the day, I'll get into them in deeper form on, you know, on the Substack, where I'll explain some of these things in greater detail. But just for the sake of this video, I want to rip through this. Pulse Project, public understanding, leadership, and social ethics of governance of earth cooling technologies and communities impacted by volcanic activity in the Philippine context. Oh, so we're going to talk about stratospheric aerosol injection, and well, volcanoes do it, and you know, maybe this is a good thing, you know, except it's not going to be volcanoes raining down ash on you and turning you into Pompeii or something like that. We're just going to block a little sunlight because it's necessary, that necessary evil aspect. So anyway, more on that, you know, ethics and governance of earth cooling research from concepts to implementation. So all that's, you know, think pieces, and these are more modeling studies here. So grid CC, eco ice. We're not going to get into these because, you know, I will bore you to tears with these. This is my jam. You know, I get downs with it. Space reflector baseline survey. This is about space-based geoengineering. And in each one of these, it'll say, you know, like 400,000 pounds over 15 months. So it'll give you a time frame, and then it'll tell you the companies or, you know, universities involved. Planetary Sunshade Foundation, Cornell University, NCAR, University of Nottingham, Redwire Space, NASA JPL, Ethos Space. So, you know, you can go look into all of these people, and I suggest you do. Anyway. Simulating effects of blah, 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 defining minimum scale of a stratospheric aerosol injection test, a fundamental first step towards an outdoor experiment. 2 years to do that. One guy, Cornell University. De-risking Cirrus modification. This one and the next one are very interesting because what I've been trying to tell people forever is that cirrus clouds matter, that when it comes to chemtrails, they are contrails turning into cirrus. And geoengineers are highly invested in the idea of cirrus cloud thinning, cirrus cloud seeding, and just using the clouds made by planes to cool the planet. No pumps, no pipes, nothing you've been told is true, but it is still a geoengineering option, which they are looking into. So high altitude cirrus clouds can have an overall warming effect on the climate. We'd like to know more about them. And in the future, proposals to deliberately modify cirrus clouds. It's right there. They're not trying to hide it. They're saying it to your face. Ice nucleating particles in the upper troposphere, advancing cirrus control and experimental science through strength. Input access. I love how they come up with this. Ice nucleating particles in the upper troposphere, advancing Cirrus. See what they did there? Input access. Okay. So, University of Leeds, in NOAA, chemistry lab, and Imperial College London, 1.3 million over 3 years. Got it. So what are they doing? This project aims to address the knowledge gap by developing new methods to observe and analyze these naturally occurring ice nucleating particles high in the atmosphere. What creates the cirrus clouds? Lack of knowledge of the concentration and nature of these tiny particles suspended in the atmosphere on which cirrus clouds form, known as ice nucleating particles, is a major contributor to this uncertainty in their climate models. So at the end of the day, they're going to figure out, it's metals coming from jet exhaust in addition to naturally occurring metals like mineral dust on which planes form clouds, high thin cirrus in ice supersaturated regions. I could literally save them the $1.3 million and just tell them this, but we'll wait for the 36 months and then we'll go back and we'll play this video, then we'll read their paper, and I'll remind you that I was freaking right now. I was right in 2015. This is not something, they want to get more into the details, but at the end of the day, your chemtrails, tell this to your friends, your chemtrails are metal ice clouds. I have always been right about this. I will always be right in the future about this. But that's what they're talking about. StratoGuard global monitoring for climate engineering using high altitude balloons, micro high altitude balloons, Volitude and all these people, blah, blah, blah. Monitoring aerosol climate engineering, MACE project, University of Bristol. So that's all of the studies that they're going to do. Now we're going to talk about what is the actual geoengineering outdoor experiments they're going to do. Because this is really what everybody's talking about. Because remember, I just want to remind everybody, Ben Davidson went full chemtard, full retard and said, you know what? Go out and do the bad thing. Delete the pilots, stop the planes. 100% full retard chemtrail style. What are they actually talking about doing? Rethickening Arctic sea ice, the RASI project, Center for Climate Repair. By the way, in case you didn't know this, they go through these words all the time. It used to be geoengineering, then it was climate engineering, then it was climate intervention, then it was climate restoration. Now they like to throw around the term climate repair. Reframing the discussion, always a thing. So anyway, researchers will conduct controlled small-scale experiments in Canada across 3 winter seasons to basically try to refreeze seawater from underneath the ice. Involves pumping seawater from beneath existing ice and spreading it on top where the frigid air quickly freezes it, creating thicker ice patches over the course of the project. And if the early experiments suggest approach is ecologically sound, later experiments will aim to cover area up to 1 square kilometer per experiment site. The questions are whether the thicker ice lasts longer in the summer, how it might affect ice movement. So basically, this is called glacial geoengineering or Arctic ice regeneration. There's many different terms for this. It's a lesser known geoengineering technology. I'm familiar with it, and now you're familiar with it, and knowing is half the battle. So the next 3 are marine cloud brightening. For those who don't know what marine cloud brightening looks kind of like that. It looks like, spraying a bunch of salt particles into clouds to make them whiter, brighter over the ocean, just so you know. And they've been doing this. Southern Cross University has been doing this off the coast, the eastern coast of Australia since 2022, I want to say, might be 2021. But they've been making brighter clouds by injecting salt water into clouds above the Great Barrier Reef. It's called the Great Barrier Reef Restoration Project. So apparently they want to throw some money at that as well. Marine cloud brightening, blah, 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 blah. Let's see if there's anything worth actually reading in here. Oh, yeah, there it is. Great Barrier Reef. In years 3, 4, and 5 of the project, they want to conduct small-scale, controlled outdoor experiments. Just a hint on that. You cannot do a controlled outdoor experiment because the sky is crazy. The sky is turbulent. The sky is chaotic. There is no control in the troposphere. Let's be real. Or the stratosphere, any of this, but they'll try. This is the most ugly version of trying to come up with an acronym I've ever seen in my life. They've got a RE here. I mean, look, it's just, there's the F, there's the L at the end of novel, and then in the middle of technology, they have a EC, and then I guess the T and 2 makes the Reflect project. That is just absolutely pathetic. Hugo, you really suck at the acronym game. I mean, at least Andrew Lockley, when he came up with this Satan project, it was stratospheric aerosol transport and nucleation. It was very brief. I mean, it's in your face, but this is pathetic. Anyway, responsible innovation framework for assessing novel spray technology research to examine local albedo changes from marine brightening and its multi-scale impacts. Again, another marine cloud brightening project. So now we've got 1, spraying water on top of ice sheets to refreeze it. 2, marine cloud brightening projects. And then a new type of marine cloud. That's 3 marine cloud brightening. Exactly, Jack. Bush League acronym game. I love it. I love it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. You nailed it. You win. Finding ways to influence cloud reflectivity is a key research challenge. We want to use electricity. Oh, I love it. This is going to be an interesting one. Anyway, the project includes plans for a very small scale, on the order of 100 meters by 100 meters, controlled outdoor experiments in the UK during the 3rd year of the project. This is a 3-year project with $2 million worth of funding. And that they're going to be using some electrified seawater, as far as I can understand. So cloud brightening with electric charge. This sounds like marine cloud brightening plus cloud ionization. So cloud ionizers meet MCB. Now we get to the most controversial one of all, the stratospheric aerosol injection experiment. Now, I want to remind everybody at the beginning of this video, I showed you Ben Davidson, aka Suspicious Observer, and he went full retard, just like so many people in the world today, who said, go stop the planes and the pilots at all costs as a reaction to this UK experiment. What are they actually going to do? Natural materials for stratospheric aerosol injection. This is the sun dimming experiment that everybody's tripping about. Yes, marine cloud brightening does dim the sun. It does it very low to the ground. We're talking in the lower troposphere, we're talking marine stratocumulus at the most. We're not talking about cirrus clouds. We're not talking about even in the stratosphere. We're talking right off the surface of the ocean, spraying sea salt into that. That dims the sun right over the ocean. Jack, I did not shave today, brother, man. I just felt like going all natty today. I got church tomorrow, so I'm gonna shave before I go to church. No, I missed a day. Tomorrow I have the day off. That's why I'm being so lazy this weekend. I have the day off from work. So do not judge me, Jack. Anyway, Bright Spark. This is Giles Harrison. I'm assuming it's from the University of Reading. $2 million over 3 years. And what are they going to do? I'm going to read this whole thing because I don't think people really, oh wait, that's the wrong one. Hugh Hunt, University of Cambridge, $5.5 million over 3 years. So University of Cambridge Harvard University, because Harvard has the Harvard Solar Geoengineering Research Program, Imperial College of London. Most importantly, I guess it's, they kind of, made it really big for a reason. They put it in bold right there. Crucially, no materials will be released into the stratosphere. I find this to be the most ironic and laughable nothing burger that I've ever heard of in the 20 years I've been covering geoengineering. David Keith with his ScopeX project, they ETC group shut it down 2-3 times. That UK Spice project, ETC group shut that down. So everything except for Andrew Lockley's Satan balloon, it actually made it up there. It's, released a little bit of chemicals. You got the Make Sunset boys throwing balloons in the air. But whenever they're lying, they will release particulates into the stratosphere. I've actually talked to the people who are going to do this, and I'm not shilling for anybody because I think geoengineering should be banned. Everybody knows this. Ban geoengineering. These people are crazy. I don't want it. Nobody wants it. I'm looking forward to the parliamentary debate. I don't think it's actually going to be a debate because all of these scumbags are in on this. They want to make it legal. This December, the United Nations Environmental Assembly 7, they're going to try to pass geoengineering governance to make it the legal framework whereby you can geoengineer, but that doesn't really change anything, okay? But let's just be real. This is what they're saying is actually going to happen. They're going to basically just carry some novel chemical, all right, let's be real, mineral dust, such as limestone, dolomite, and corundum, will be secured onto supports inside the gondolas of a specifically adapted weather balloon. These balloons are likely to be launched from sites in the USA and the UK. Heads up, America, they're coming to carry their rocks into the stratosphere in our backyard. The specific site will be determined in line with ARIA's requirement for community engagement. Oh, they're going to ask our permission before they launch these balloons. Do you think that this is going to happen? How many people? Raise your hand. Let me know in the comments. Do you think that the people in the local communities are going to be like, let me get this straight. You want to carry some non-toxic, non-sulfate material in a very controlled manner up into the stratosphere and then recover those to see how the stratosphere affect the rocks? And you're not going to spray anything because spraying is the word that really gets us, gives us our pleasure in our pants area. You know what I'm saying? In the no-no square. So at the end of the day, I find it highly ironic that while people are out there running around going, let's, the pilots and the planes, let's do all the, the evil, violent things. In reality, it comes down to this, and I did confirm with several different geoengineering scientists that this is exactly what, this is the plan. And even if they were spraying something, we're talking milligrams or grams. When you have airplanes putting millions of tons of sulfur into the sky every day and nobody gives a crap, and they don't, because I've been literally telling people this for 20 years. They don't care. All they care about is white lines in the sky. I see planes, white lines in the sky, nanobots, Morgellons, human blood, plasma, ethylene dibromide, chemtrails. That's all anybody cares about. And I've always said that the chemtrail people are making my life miserable because I want to stop these people from ever getting to a point where they can legalize what they're trying to do. And if they do get to that point, it will be the chemtrail people's fault. Period. End of story. I'm going to blame you. If it weren't for the stupid, if it weren't for the grifters, the hucksters, and the propagandists making money off of your fear of chemtrails, when it's actually contrails turning into cirrus clouds blocking out the sun, that is a nanoparticle jet exhaust pollution problem, and it is a sulfuric acid, aka acid rain problem. If you actually understood these facts, you could do something about it. That's why Tennessee, I'm on my rant, so I'm going to get in your face. That's why Tennessee banned geoengineering and weather modification. The cirrus clouds are still there. Planes still make them. There's nothing they can do about it. Florida just banned chemtrails, but they actually banned geoengineering and weather modification. I'm all for that. Golf clap for them. But that's not going to change planes from polluting the sky. That's not going to change your days back to sunny, because you didn't do your homework. The COVID kids that came for my chemtrails wrote a bunch of laws, got them passed in 2 states so far, didn't do their homework. They believed the lie. So while it's a great virtue signal that these states do not approve of geoengineering like what they're trying to attempt to do in the UK, it's not going to change planes farting in the sky, making cirrus clouds. Physics do not care about your laws. Physics don't care about your feelings. If you don't understand how to read a radio sign, a weather balloon, or use the contrail finder on windy, or go to earth.null school and look at, relative humidity at 250 hectopascals, clearly you just don't know anything about this topic. You just want to sit back, enjoy your fear porn, share that, and then donate to people who are lying to you. I'm not doing this to be popular. I'm not doing this to be famous. I don't even give a shit if you like me. But I'm going to tell you the truth no matter what. And guess what? When I put out chemtrailfacts.com, I'm going to air out the ass of the dirty laundry of all the people who've been lying to you and deceiving you. Because if I don't, I will have wasted 20 years of my life fighting these geoengineers for my daughters and my grandchildren, so they don't grow up in a world that's been geoengineered by a bunch of freaking unelected technocrats from around the globe. So your chemtrails are screwing with my activism. You people need to get your feces consolidated. Dumbasses like Ben Davidson don't need to be out telling people to harm pilots and planes. And guess what? I'm going to read it one more time. Stratospheric aerosol injection is widely discussed as a potential climate cooling method, but the most commonly proposed material, sulfates, sulfur dioxide, carry significant hazards in this context, including the potential ozone depletion and toxicity. Translated, it kills people. Addressing whether safer alternative materials could be feasible for effective stratospheric aerosol injection is therefore a critical unanswered scientific question. This project will undertake fundamental research to investigate the properties and or behavior of innovative, non-toxic, non-sulfate materials in a very controlled manner. That's the 4th time I've read very controlled manner. I laugh every time you guys say that. The research combines laboratory studies and computational modeling, GeoMIP, Geoengineering Model Intercomparison Project, among many others. Computational mining with unique and contained material exposure experiments. In these experiments, tiny milligram amounts of materials that occur in natural mineral dust, such as limestone, dolomite, and corundum, will be secured onto supports on the sides of gondolas to specifically adapted weather balloons. These balloons are likely to be launched from sites in the US and the UK. The specific site hasn't been decided until we ask permission and get some community engagement. Oh, we're all going to raise hell in that part. These balloons will carry the samples into the stratosphere for exposure periods ranging from hours to weeks before performing controlled descent for recovery. Crucially, no materials will be released into the stratosphere. This approach effectively brings the stratosphere to the samples. Studying the recovered samples will reveal how stratospheric conditions affect their properties over time. This foundational science is essential to advance understanding of potential impacts of stratospheric aerosol injection and for determining if less harmful alternatives to sulfates might exist and if they might want to warrant further study in the context of SAI. So they're literally going to take limestone, dolomite, and corundum, natural mineral dust, and expose it in the stratosphere to see what chemical changes happen to the samples. They're not going to release the samples, and then they're going to let the balloon come back down to the ground and collect it. This is the biggest freaking nothing burger in 2 decades of me doing this. For all of the, hyperventilating, people freaking the F out, threatening to kill pilots because they believe this is chemtrails. They're not even going to spray anything. This is... Anyway, I'm going to sum it up here. There's also, so that's the ARIA. We also have what's called the UKRI, UK Research and Innovation, Modeling of Impact of Solar Radiation Modification. This is not related to ARIA. This is independent of ARIA. It is going on simultaneously. I'll be writing all this up in the near future. I already showed you this thing. This is from SRM 360, but now they have something really cool for you guys to play with. I'll give you a link to this in the future, but Jim, if you know me at all, you know I love maps and I know I love connecting the dots, and it doesn't get much better than this one. NOAA, look at that. And all of the institutions connected to it. And you can even flip the script on this. Like you can go, okay, well, who's giving money? AWZ Ventures to Stardust Solutions. Who's Stardust Solutions? That's Stardust Laboratories. I don't know why they keep calling them Stardust Solutions. But anyway, they've got $15 million worth of money in Israel right now to make a private company. And you can go look at all of these, all the big dots. Big dots are people doling out the money. National Science Foundation, Cornell Climate Engineering, University of California, Los Angeles, Cornell, Gordon Research Conferences, UCAR. So you can just go through these and see who's funding geoengineering. Grab some of the big dots, Open Philanthropy. Who else? We got B.K. Rasmussen, Helmholtz Association. And then you can just flip the script and you can say funds given, go to funds received, and you can see who's getting all the money. So here we have Carnegie Climate Governance Initiative, CCGI, and you see Children Investment Fund, Open Society Foundation. Yes, that's George Soros. IKEA Foundation. Is that like IKEA, like the furniture? I'm just curious. Oak Foundation. So while everybody's claiming that the federal government is paying for all of this stuff, what you see time and time again, here's the ETC group, by the way, Action Group on Erosion Technology and Concentration. ETC group is the group that has literally stopped geoengineering multiple times. They're the one who broke the back of David Keith and made him quit his job at the Harvard Solar Geoengineering Research Program. He stopped the SCOPEX project. He went, and now he's teaching at the University of Chicago. So anyway, you can go through all of these and see who's, making the money, who's, there's Stardust Labs. They got a big chunk of money. Silver Lining Project and all the people who are funding them. I love the way they have this set up, and this is D3.js. I know it because you can drag it around, and this stuff just makes me excited. I love the physics on this. So you can come in here and just actually, and they say they're going to keep this up. So this is the Harvard Solar Geoengineering Research Program, and you can see who's funding that. This is the Koich Group. This is who was actually doing the SCOPEX project. So you can actually look that up, and links are right there in all the details. I mean, shout out SRM 360 on making this. I'm pleasantly surprised they did this. Reef Trust Partnership, Australian National Government. I don't know why this doesn't have Southern Cross on there, but that's the Marine Cloud Brightening down there. So lots of dots, many dots. SRM 360 themselves, funded by, they even put themselves on blast in the thing. So it's pretty neat. You can just come in here and, dive into it. Degrees initiative. Oh, there's where the whole, thing comes in. This is the Solar Radiation Management Governance Initiative, and you can see all of that. So when you go and you look at all of this, when you go and you look like this, and you can download the raw data, which I did already, and you can see who's funding geoengineering. Almost none of this, very little of this is actually government funded. Aside from, if you want to count for the National Science Foundation, which is the largest government sponsor in America, it's basically NOAA and the National Science Foundation. Always has been, always will be. But National Science Foundation total awarded around $20.5 million. I mean, that's a lot of grant money. It still pales in comparison to just stuff Doge has found recently. But, $20 million goes a long way when you're talking about researching ending the world with mimic volcanoes. This and more will be on my Substack in the near future, in addition to who exactly is ARIA? The secretive government unit planning to dim the sun. Who is ARIA? Founded by this dude and Dominic Cummings. I can't pronounce his word. I'm not going to try. I'm Southern. It's an impediment. But yes, srm360.org. Thanks for putting that in there, Stella. And the funding tracker is right here. I'll just throw that up in the chats. There you go. So you can go ahead and dig into that. And the ARIA project is described here. Throw that up in the chat just for something you guys to munch on. But again, no materials will be released into the stratosphere. We're going to carry some rocks up on a balloon and see how the stratosphere affects them so that we can make a better determination on, can we do what they call solid particle geoengineering, SAI. So this idea that since, 1997, when the first papers were written about stratospheric aerosol injection of using sulfur, damn near every single paper has been about sulfur dioxide, sulfuric acid. But the facts that's there's the London Protocol, there's the Kyoto Protocol, there's many different international treaties and laws on the books about affecting ozone layer, ozone depletion, plus sulfur kills people. There's a lot of problems with that. That's what volcanoes do naturally. They put sulfur in the stratosphere. So at the end of the day, they've kind of migrated from that more to solid particle reflective materials in the stratosphere as a solution. And they made the jump from H2SO4, which is sulfuric acid, as JT says in chat, to maybe we could use calcium carbonate, which is what David Keith was trying to launch from his Scopex balloons. So at the end of the day, we've really migrated, little by little more towards even like diamond dust, which is just pure elemental carbon. Outrageously expensive. There was like $175 trillion to do diamond dust geoengineering, but it would be safe for the entire environment. Aside from taking away the sunlight, it wouldn't, chemically react with anything. I don't know how it would do with you breathing it in, but regardless, they're talking about moving towards these solid particle SAI ideas because of all the pushback they've got on all the uncertainty on how sulfates would affect the stratosphere. So it's ironic that all these people are literally having a panic attack. They are breathless, from Alex Jones to Dane Dingleberry wigging out, to Redacted, the People's Voice, Sean, all the usual fear porn pushing suspects. The UK is planning on, ramping up the geoengineering program we're seeing overhead. And then you come to find out, and I said this without even knowing, before I had the proof in my hand, before I'd actually spoke to the people involved in the project, I was like, out of all this money, how many balloons are you guys going to fly in the air? Let's be real, because it's always a balloon. And it turns out it's going to be like maybe 1 to maybe 5. Let's say it's 10 balloons. where they're going to carry some rocks up into the stratosphere, release absolutely nothing, and see how the stratosphere affects it. That is freaking hilarious. You all got punked. And I think that everybody who's been pushing this narrative and then hyperventilating and telling people to go harm pilots because you believe in chemtrails, you need to be kicked squarely in the nuts for that. You should be publicly shamed. So I'm here to do it today. Ben Davidson, you went full retard. You went full chemtard, and you should be shamed. I thought that you were somewhat of a scientist who somewhat knew what you were talking about when you talk about the sun. Now I'm questioning even that, because if you can't understand something as simple as planes make contrails that turn into cirrus clouds, which you've now outed yourself as being a chemtrail retard, I cannot trust anything else you have to say. Which is ironic, because I remember the day that I was trying to teach you what HAARP actually does, and your response to me was, Jim, shut up, you don't even have a degree. But since I got my PhD at TSC, Dr. Jim, the Rick Grimes of Sky Crimes, has brought you the full story, and I am right about this. I double, triple, and quadruple checked before making this video, which is why I'm so late to making it, that this is a nothing burger. It is still a problem because we need to ban geoengineering, the real geoengineering. They shouldn't even be allowed to do these tests. Why? Because they're trying to get to a point where they can legalize a deployment of some kind. If they do this test and they say, well, the limestone, the dolomite, and the corundum, it wasn't harmed by the atmosphere, and the atmosphere wasn't harmed by it. So this looks like something we could powderize some limestone, put it up there, and it'll reflect some sunlight. It won't affect the ozone layer. Let's make this legal. Then guess what's going to happen? That's what they're going to do. And nobody's looking at them. Nobody's really calling them out on any of this, because guess what? They all are so, yeah. Matt Lamon is another who produced Frankenskies. Matt Lamon, you're on my shit list too, and you know why. He stole all of his material, all the material from weathermodificationhistory.com to make Frankenskies after bashing me in public because I would not speak at his second international chemtrail summit because I lost this tooth in the front of my mouth, and he had me as the frontline speaker for his conference. And when I called him, I said, Don, I can't talk because I'm missing a tooth in the front of my mouth, and this is going to be recorded, and I'm from the South, and if you have a guy from the South talking about chemtrails and he's got a whistling tooth, it's going to look really stupid, and this video is going to live forever on the internet. He went full ham on me on the entire internet, bashing my name. So, you know what? Screw you, Matt Lamon, you fake ass bitch. You know, I won't even get into ranting more. Every single one of these scumbags that I've met over the 20 years, and I know them all, I've talked to them all on the phone, they are all freaking liars, grifters, and shills. Not saying they're paid by the government. I'm just saying they are greedy, lying scumbags, and I'm going to expose every damn one of you. Every damn one of you on my website. So, that being said, it is now almost midnight. I'm going to wrap this video up. I'm still trying to get the hell up out of my bedroom because as it is almost midnight, my wife would like to be laying in that bed with me. I'd like to be laying in it with her as well. We're trying to build a studio in the backyard. If you guys could support that, trying to raise about $5,000 to do that so that I can make videos anytime I want. Work on my websites, work on all that stuff. Go to connect.climateviewer.com. Send me a one-time donation. If you're not going to do it for any other thing, please do it for this. You'll be saving my marriage. And a little bit of side news. I just got a new job. I am going to be a sheriff's deputy. I accepted the position. So I am really in a position now where if I don't get the hell out of this bedroom, I'm going to finish chemtrailfacts.com, brush up my websites, And this will be the last time you guys see me. Because at the end of the day, I don't need this. You guys need me. If you want somebody to tell the truth, if you want somebody to cover this stuff, I've done it for 20 years. I've done it on no budget whatsoever. And this year, I literally paid $3,900 out of pocket for my websites, my software, and everything. I cannot continue to do that. Without your support, if I don't get this studio in my backyard, if I don't get what I want, I will gladly keep my websites up and go have a happy, stress-free life with my children and my wife, and we will work on our homestead, and I might make a video once or twice a year just because I feel like coming on here and cussing people out. But Jim Lee, the Sky Sheriff, the Rick Grimes of Sky Crimes, I'm asking for your help. So if you could help me get into that studio in my backyard, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'm only asking now at the end of the video, because if you made it to the end of the video, you realize that this is important information. I'm telling you the truth. I'm shooting you straight. If I don't get that help to do this, if I cannot make that studio possible, I'm shutting this shit down. I'm going back to playing the latest video game when I get off work, and I will be just fine. I can no longer do this from inside my house. My children and my family have put up with this for damn near 20 years. I need a space to actually work. So that being said, please share this video. Tell everybody how wrong they are about the UK program. It still should be geoengineering. Please go check out, sign up for the Substack newsletter, join our Telegram chat, support my work by donating, please. God, please. And thank you so much to the 9 people who've donated so far. I really greatly appreciate you. Greatly, greatly appreciate you. We are still a long way from $5,000. And that's just lowball estimate to rip the walls out, put new walls inside my shed, and paint that shit. And then move my computer into the shed. I'm not trying to decorate it like crazy or anything like that. I just want to have a room that's not in my bedroom, where literally the lovemaking den is no longer the background of my website, my videos. I have a private place where I can work at any time, and my wife can sleep whenever I'm, going. You know what? I haven't made a video in like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to do one late at night. So that being said, this is hilarious to me. That everybody's having a panic attack. Everybody's making money off of this clickbait for fear porn. Everybody's associating it with chemtrails when it has nothing to do with it. It never does. It's always a balloon. It's never a plane. I just think it's freaking hilarious. So go wave your finger at them and you tell them Jim said so. Show them this video. Especially send it to Ben Davidson. Make sure that he knows that he sees this video. That I think, Ben, you are a dumbass. Like you're king dumbass of the internet today because you're out there advocating violence, which is why I'm going to remind everybody, attack ideas, not people. The world's a scary enough place. We don't need people out there threatening to kill everybody. I'm not even going to respond to Cat. Chad's getting trolly at this point. That's hilarious. Love you, mean it. I may see you on the next one. Have a great Memorial Day.
Kids are impressionable. That's why here at this station, we watch the programs and commercials your child watches carefully. He may see bad guys, but not in the role of heroes. And he'll learn that crime doesn't pay. Because your child's welfare is our concern, too. That's part of our code.
Better than anything you can get without a prescription. Anything. It's the best.
I can do anything good. I can do anything good. Yeah. I can do anything. and